Honestly, I can't tell you how it happened. All I know is the police officer handed me this bag, this Ziploc bag, full of everything that was left. John's glasses, smashed. His wallet, his keys, his cell phone, Anne's wallet and keys, her cell phone, and little Charlie's cell phone, the one I gave him for his 12th birthday last year. He tried to give me a bag of clothes too. He said they'd been in the SUV and he apologized for the blood. He said that everything flew out on impact, and I tried to take it, but my hands shook, and he saw that. You know, I'd been to the morgue, I knew they were all gone. So he just put the bag down by the door, and I thanked him and I shut the door. Little bits of dust floated up out of the bag, and I thought, wow, this is my family, you know, little bits of Anne and John and Charlie, and they're all dust now. Sorry, I know I look terrible. I have aged 10 years since the crash. I'm sure of it. But you know, I don't care. I just don't care anymore about that stuff. Thing is, I'm cold all the time. I just can't seem to get warm. It's really, really quiet here now. And I just stare out the window and days go by and I feel like I should do something, like I could do something. There's like a primitive feeling that goes through me that I could do something to like bring them back, sort of bring them back to life or do something like that. But I can't do anything. I find myself at night standing at the bottom of the stairway, looking up with dead cell phones in my hand. I look for anything I can see, like the smallest bit of movement. I listen for the sound. I miss their sounds. I miss like, are you ready for school and brush your teeth, you know, all that stuff. But I'm frozen and I just sort of turn away. You know, it just happens so fast. Anyway, yeah. When Tony, my husband, got sick, it happened really slowly. And he got really weak, and so we moved downstairs into the guest suite. He couldn't do the stairs anymore. And after he died and the kids wanted to move in, well, I thought I'd just stay down here, you know, and I would just give them the whole upstairs. And I had read that privacy was the most important thing for, you know, kind of a multi-generational household to get along. So I didn't go up there much unless I was invited. But since the crash, I've just had this, it must be really a primitive thing, some kind of feeling that I could somehow rejuvenate them or bring them back, and that this is all just imagined, it's not real. So then I had a really weird idea, and you get really weird ideas after you've had something like this. I had this idea that if I took the phones, these phones, this is Mama Bear, and Papa Bear, and Baby Bear, and if I took them upstairs and I charged them back in to their chargers, because they're all dead now, I could call them on the landline and I could hear their voices. I know it sounds really weird, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. It wasn't. It was a stupid idea. But anyway, I took the phones upstairs, and the first time, like, I opened Anne's door, well, John and Anne's room, of course, and the smell of Anne, the cinnamon smell that she's had since she was a baby. She's my only child, so I don't really know if other babies smell cinnamony, but Anne has always smelled like cinnamon. Anyway, I wasn't prepared for it, it just came over me. But anyway, I went in and it looked like they had rushed out of the room. The bed was unmade and Anne's nightgown was across the bed. And I wanted to pick it up, of course, and hang it up, but I didn't. I just left it there. Just find this charger. So I took her phone and I put it in her charger. And there on her night table, just like when she was a kid, she had collected everything that she thinks she might ever need. Buttons, safety pins, little compasses from Charlie's cracker box or something, I don't know, and a little flashlight and these things, it's just the same as when she was little. Anyway, I didn't touch anything. I just turned away and looked for John's charger, which, of course, John's bureau is immaculate. There's absolutely nothing on it except the charger. And so typically John, the signature of a successful dentist. Very tight. Put his phone in, turned around, shut the door, and left. Okay. Then I went down the hall to Charlie's room. And Charlie's carpet is weird. It's always felt like you're on a cloud when you stand at his door. And now on his door he has, he's a teenager, he has Charlie's space, do not enter. But I knew he wouldn't mind. Anyway, I opened the door, and when I opened the door, this flash of light came right at me, right in my face, and kind of knocked me back. And I just kind of was blinded for a minute. And then when I could kind of focus again, his favorite hoodie that he had to send to Poland for, it's called Red is Bad hoodie on the floor with his pair of pants, and it looked like it took his shape, and it looked like he could just beamed out of there and into this light that hit me. And then I remembered in the morning, well, first I thought, this is something spiritual. You think all kinds of thoughts. Anyway, I thought that he had somehow made contact with me, but later I remembered that he told me at breakfast, Grandma, I have made a special protection against intruders. And he wanted to be an engineer. So I knew what that was. And anyway, stupidly, I picked up his hoodie. Sort of remembered holding him and rocking when he was a little bit. I should think about that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I found the charger and I put the phone in the charger, which was right by his computer. And it sang this little song. It sings, how kids' cell phones sing these little songs? I used to drive him to school every day, and in the back, I could always hear him playing his games, with his funny little tunes. He's never going to graduate now or do anything. He'll never be an engineer now. Anyway. Sorry. Well, that night, I had a strange dream, and I've been having strange dreams. Anyway, I had this strange dream. And in the dream, all the phones upstairs are ringing at once. Everybody's trying to call me. And when I go to pick up the landline, it's dead. And lying on the table next to the landline is a cell phone. Now, I don't have a cell phone. Not just in the dream. I don't have a cell phone. I'm not a technical person. I never have been. I know I have a little computer here, which Anne gave me for Christmas. I didn't want it, but she insisted that I have it. And so I've kind of gotten used to it. It showed me how to Google things and how to find recipes and read the news and stuff, so I do have that. But anyway, in the dream, I have a cell phone. And the cell phone, I know how to use it in the dream, and I'm really technical, and I'm really good at that, except I look down and my hands are in blocks of ice, and they're frozen, and my whole body is getting frozen in this. Now I know why I had this dream. I had this dream because upstairs, John's phone rings all night, day and night, but all night. It must be somebody who doesn't know that he's dead yet, and he just keeps calling or whatever. So anyway, I decided I'm going back up there, and I'm going to take John's phone out of the charger and let it die. So I did. I went up there, and I took the phone out of the charger, and I lay it down on their bed. And the poor little thing, it looked like some kind of like little creature that was sort of trapped in the sheets, and it couldn't right itself, like it was lying down, and it couldn't turn over, like a turtle does. And I felt like a murderer. So anyway, I picked it up, and I didn't quite know what I was going to do with it, but it rang, of course, it rang. And the screen said, RCMP. I just didn't know what to think, so I just didn't do anything. And then it stopped, and then it rang right again. And I figured, well, maybe it's got something to do with the police, it's important. So I answered it. And I said, hello? And a man said, is John Fairbanks there? And I said, no, I'm sorry, John's not here, John's dead. And the guy said, you're effing right, lady. He's effing dead. So is his whole effing family, and so will you be. I just was like, oh my God, I've never been talked to like that. I've never been talked to in my own house like that. And I started shaking. I'm becoming this shake thing. And I felt sick to my stomach. So I went in the bathroom. I used their bathroom. Then when I came out, I collected up every charger and every phone. And I took them down here, and I'm not going up there again. Anyway, I tried calling these phones from the landline, and it just made things worse. It was a really bad idea. One time, not long ago, I was holding this phone. This is Anne's phone. This is a special phone. This is a phone, it's a special edition iPhone that John bought Anne for Christmas. He knew everything she wanted. He would buy her the moon. So I was looking at this phone and trying to understand how a cell phone works with my little computer here. This thing's really nice little thing. Anyway, I was holding this, and it started to vibrate. I mean, really, like nothing, no sound, but just like moving. And I realized that that's a setting you can set it on, and that it had been at that setting all the time. So I was holding it. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I just lose things. I was holding it, and it started vibrating, and I answered it. Now, you'd think I wouldn't after what happened upstairs, but I don't know, you just wish you feel it. I don't know, anyway, it was a really stupid idea, and I answered it. And before I could say a word, a man said, "Pussycat, where have you been?" I didn't say anything. He said, I know you said no phone calls, and I've left you messages on your Ashley Madison page. You were so hot last Wednesday. And I turned it off, put it down, and it vibrated again. Now last Wednesday was when they died. Last Wednesday evening when they died. Went flying off Haverford Bridge and into that dark ravine. I mean, really deep. Clothes flying free in the back seat next to Charlie. Oh God. Must have been Charlie's blood. Don't think about this stuff. Just not supposed to think about this stuff. Right? Think about this stuff. This phone is the only phone. It's the only thing that survived. These phones. And this phone, when Charlie wanted this phone, he wanted this green phone. And I thought it was quite rude looking, actually, but he had to have it. And when I turn it on, it asks for a password. I don't know his password. And this phone never rings. Never. Never rung once. This phone rings all the time. This is John's phone. Or at least it used to. I finally learned how to turn it off. So now it's really quiet again. Really quiet again. I look around and I look at all this stuff that is so meaningful for our lives, keys and wallets and credit cards and, you know, all that kind of stuff, the things that we think are so valuable. I look at their pictures and I try to understand what happened. It's so weird because I had a whole lifetime with Tony. And I can't remember what he looks like. I mean, I have this picture, it's like a mask. I can't remember what he looks like. That's 5 years ago. I don't want to forget Anne's face, little Charlie's face. And what password would you think Charlie would use? Like Avenger, Lego, something like that? I don't know. Anyway, I had this funny dream. It was sort of half memory, half dream. And in the dream, I guess I was falling asleep. I could see little Charlie when he was, you know, about that big, with Digger, his dog. And Digger was tiny then, too. He was just a pup. And this was a real thing. He was running through Arthur's Field. I used to go out there and sit with him, and he'd run through the tall grasses, and Digger would jump up and try to lick Charlie's face, and then he'd fall down in the grass, and the grass would sort of swallow him up, and then he'd leap up again. And Charlie thought this was great fun, and he really loved it. And he'd yell, "Grandma, Grandma." He couldn't say the word. "Digga's disappearing," you know, "Digga's disappearing." You know how little kids scramble everything up. And so I'm having this dream of him running and him saying this, and then suddenly there's like this stop, and Charlie is standing right in front of me. Like totally in front of me with his hands out, and he's saying, "Grandma, I'm reappeared." And then I woke up, and it was evening. And I thought, oh, it's late. I better get up. They'll be home soon. I better get dinner started. I don't know what to make. And then I realized, there's no one coming home. There's no one coming home now or ever. There's no reappearing possible. Oh. I get this kind of cramp here. And the doctor said it's heartache, you know. I'm in good shape, but I gotta tell you. Anyway, I don't know what to think, honestly. So I thought, okay, I'll try Digger. So I typed in Digger, and I had a hell of a time doing a capital. but I got it in, it didn't work. So then I thought, okay, and I did Digger again, and it worked, but I did it without a capital this time. And I was thrilled. All these kind of pages came flying up at me, and then all this, like a movie started of all this graphic stuff with bodies writhing about, and like people having sex and all kinds of orgasmic stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like what is this? Jesus Christ! And it, like I just kind of dropped it, you know, and I kind of writhed around on the floor, going like this, happy. I just felt like squashing the thing. Anyway, I managed to mute it, and it died finally. I just left it. I just kicked it under there for a bit. And I know I shouldn't get upset. I'm not supposed to get upset about this stuff. I'm supposed to stay calm. But if you look at this phone, this is John's phone. John's phone has hundreds of messages. This was his private phone. This was the family phone. Hundreds of messages. So I Googled the first number on his caller list. It was a number in Quebec. It's a gambling. It's online gambling. All these numbers, for the most part, are online gambling. And the messages are from people who want money, and they want banks. Banks want money. And some of them are death threats. John's lost everything. He's ruined. Thank God I own my house, and I have Tony's pension and some money I saved for Charlie. He's ruined. You know, I try not to think about Anne too. I try not to think about that thing, but I looked up Ashley Madison, and there was a picture of a woman with her finger across her lips, and it said, discreet married dating. Life is short, have an affair. And it asked me for another password. All these secret worlds with all these secret passwords. I don't know her password. I wouldn't even know what to think about it. I can't think of Anne that way. I just simply can't. It was last Wednesday they died, and she was with a man last Wednesday? The afternoon before she died, she was with a man? How many Wednesdays has she been with a man? Honestly, I think, after that, I couldn't look at these things. I went to Facebook. I went to look at their Facebook pages because they're nice, they're really nice. John's Facebook page, it has pictures of him, his successful dentist, and pictures of happy father and happy husband, and Anne and Charlie. And then I go to Anne's Facebook page. I didn't tell you, but one of the messages on John's phone was from Anne. And it said, darling, I'm sorry, I'm running so late. Something to do with the flower shop. I can't remember what the excuse was. And she told him she loved him, and could he pick up Charlie at school because she couldn't get away. You know where she was. I had to turn it off. I couldn't stand hearing her lie to me like that, or lie to him like that. Anyway, so then I looked up Charlie's Facebook page, and I thought skateboarding, gaming. No, it wasn't anything like that. You know what it was? It was swastikas and guns and alt-right stuff. That t-shirt, that favorite hoodie, that's from Poland. It's one of these clothes that they wear. And then I Googled some of his links to see what those were. And the first one was xhamster.com something, and it was men having sex with men. No controls, no age limit, just right in. I don't know how they dream up this stuff, honestly. And then the next one was a nxb.com something or other, and that was boys masturbating together. I mean, Charlie was just a child. God. How did I miss all this? How did I miss this? This was right under my nose the whole time. I thought we were a family, you know, home for dinner, you know, homework to do, and chatting with her friends. John up in the study doing whatever he was doing. I mean, does everyone use their smartphones this way? Like a private little doorway into depravity? God. I have to tell you, I'm getting pretty nervous too. I think a lot about all this stuff, and I'm getting quite nervous about how they died, to tell you the truth. Like the guy said it was an accident, the police, and guys at the morgue. But do you think John could have driven them off Haverford Bridge because of his gambling debts? I mean, do you think that this was maybe not an accident, but a suicide? You think he drove them all off the bridge and killed them all? Or maybe he knew about Anne's affairs. That would have put him right over the top. And little Charlie, do you think they knew about Charlie's sexual issues? I mean, poor little Charlie. God. Or do you think they were murdered? The messages had all death threats. Do you think a hitman, I don't know, it sounds stupid, I mean, I've seen them in movies, but it does happen. Do you think hitman, like, drove them off the bridge? They knew, they went home that route every single night. Do you think it was murder? Anyway, I should call the RCMP. I should give them the phones, tell them what's been going on. They'll think I'm nuts, though. They'll think I'm crazy. Honestly, they will. They'll just say, don't be silly. No, I really should call them. I think I really should call them. I might need their protection, you know. But then, if I give them the phones, and all this comes out, what will they think of Anne? And the adulteress, and the cheater, and the liar, Charlie, all his smut. God knows what they'll find out about John. Anyway, I'm the only person who knows about this stuff. I remember watching a Netflix film with Charlie. And in the film, a young woman, she was kind of a girl woman, she decided she was going to save her father. Father was in some jeopardy. I can't remember the details of it. But anyway, she took a SIM card out of the phone to save him. And to protect his privacy, basically, and save him. You know, I could do that. I could take the SIM cards and sort of put them in a blender or something and turn them into dust. Nobody'd know anything like that. then what do I do with these feelings? And all these thoughts, what do we do with these thoughts? I feel so betrayed, you know. And I feel disgusted. But I miss them so much. I wish more than anything they could just come home. Oh, Anne. Oh, you were such a good mama bear. Little Charlie. Sweet boy, I just feel like I should have been there to protect him. And John. Papa Bear. You love them too. Poor Papa Bear ruined. Everything ruined. And now what do I do? All this stuff. All this black stuff. It's branded. It's branded deep inside me. That's supposed to be lights. Yeah.